Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is episode 1 for the wrestling news. My New Japan reviews, that's strictly for pay-per-view, so that's not considered one of the episodes. But today I want to talk about a few things. One of them is that really needs to be touched on, but I'll get to that in a minute. Today I want to talk about several wrestlers which makes making this a trend to turn down the WWE, which I believe is a good thing, a very good thing, because since ECW and WCW went out of business, WWE has been pretty much stagnant in their production, stagnant in their in-ring work and everything like that, to the point where you have guys like Cody Rhodes. I think he mentioned Dean Ambrose in an interview a year or two ago, where he mentioned that people who want their favorite wrestlers to get a push are not getting pushes because they're being lazy or they're just sitting in the back not caring. And you see this in their ring work, which I'm not going to say they're sloppy, but sooner or later you're going to have to look at the product and say, why is these guys not getting pushed? Are they being sloppy? Best case is Randy Orton. For the longest time, if you watch WWE, you know exactly when Cena's going to do his little Hulk moves, when Randy Orton's going to do his things, and everybody else, they're pretty random. But now you see wrestlers. For me, I started seeing this with Joey Ryan. He turned down the WWE, which was a good thing because his gimmick is hated, but at the same time, he's using mind games against people, which if he was with that company, he wouldn't have that gimmick and he would be pretty much stale and boring. Reports of Kenny Omega turned down the WWE, which is good. Cody Rhodes, he turned him down, which I'm very happy for because I'm not going to say I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan, but for the longest time when he was with the company in his younger days, I just didn't like the guy. I'm just going to be right there. And now I like him as a person, but in his ring work in New Japan, he needs to stay in Ring of Honor because his style is very different and very slow compared to New Japan. Dean Ambrose, he's leaving WWE reportedly, which came out confirmation and everything that he turned in his notice and he's not resigning, which I think is good. And actually, I think I called it. I think it was sometime in January. His wife Renee Young, she tweeted something about she wanted to go see Japan, and you know how much the WWE people are on the road, so I knew she wasn't going to do that, but I had a feeling that Dean might leave the company. And this is reminiscent of when CM Punk left, which I would feel bad for Renee Young because if she left, if her husband left, Dean left, she'd be in the same spot as AJ Lee. And from what I know, AJ Lee and Renee Young both have good standings with the company, but I'm glad to see people are turning away the WWE. I'm happy to see the Lucha Brothers, they're working wherever they want to work instead of just working for WWE or working for AAA, which is a smaller version of WWE, but it's a lot more strict to get into. I'm happy to see the indies getting bigger and bigger. I love seeing Defiant grow from culture and then rebranded. I'm happy to see Defy. All these companies I'm starting to watch more and more of find them through like Instagram or Twitter. I'm happy to see them. A few of them actually follow me. I think Shine and Shimmer. I love those two companies for real because I know one of them is in Illinois, so it's not too far. Guys like Shane Strickland, people on MLW, Lucha, all these places where you couldn't find them before. Once you be able to watch them more online, you get the feeling for them because For me, I was trying to watch Shane Strickland matches for the longest time, just couldn't until Lucha. Sammy Callahan, I started to follow him. Pretty much a lot of people and a lot of female wrestlers too. But yeah, the independent is growing hotter and hotter, and WWE's doing what they can to buy up everybody. Which I don't understand these wrestlers' mindset that, hey, I'm just gonna get paid and not be on TV. Then you're gonna get to a point where when you get older and you have kids, if you don't already have kids, and they ask you why you're not in the Hall of Fame, then you have to think back to, I just took this easy way out instead of building my career up to the point where I'm gonna be on TV all the time and win championships. You won't see people like that mostly nowadays. Guys like the Great Muta, Sting, Ric Flair, and all those guys, they hone their crafts, and if they did go to WWE, they did their best to be on TV. And if they wasn't on TV, they was doing promotional ads, doing something to keep their name relevant. They just didn't accept the pay cut and just sit there and like, hey, I'm just gonna sit in the back. No, that's not how you get into the Hall of Fame. If you don't want to get into the Hall of Fame, perfectly fine. But if you try and make it to the Hall of Fame to be one of the immortal people, you ain't gonna get there. But yeah, that's the independence. I have a few ladies I can shout out at the end of this episode, but that is a great thing for you guys to know about. Going to the next segment, I think Impact with all these releases, they're losing Abyss, which was the last and final original TNA wrestlers. Sanjay Dutt. Let's see, Mike Kanellis when he was there, Mike Bennett when he was there. It just seemed like for me, I can't be into Impact this year or whenever, because Impact for me, it used to be bigger. It used to be more spectacular, more energized, more happier. It's fun. Now I turn into it, it's like a glorified house show, a glorified indie show. You got the Defiant Wrestling. Their stuff is bigger, way bigger than TNA's. A lot more area around the ring and stuff. AAA, CMLL, they're getting bigger, stuff like that. Ring of Honor, New Japan, they're all doing stuff. And TNA just, sorry, I'm gonna keep going back from TNA Impact, but Impact is just stagnant. It's like you have an owner who's much bigger than the WWE, more value, and they're putting as little as money into the company as possible. Whereas Sinclair, they're like, I'm gonna put a little bit more money into Ring of Honor, and it's paying off getting there. It's paying off there. But Impact, no, Bound for Glory, I think it was. I think that was one with Johnny Impact and Austin Aries. I couldn't get into the pay-per-view, and I've always been into Impact pay-per-views. That one, no, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was bored out of my mind because it was too small. For me, I'm accustomed to seeing Impact in very big areas for people to do stuff around the ring. That they didn't do anything. You saw how small that arena was, that venue was? I mean, you kidding me? At least go to the Impact Zone or something. But that was just terrible. And for me, I'm always, at this point, I'm still gonna say I'm a Dixie Carter TNA fan over Anthem, because they was losing money, but they never showed it in the product on screen. They always had those big venues so people can do their stuff outside the ring, a good ring setup, and that quality was always high. With Anthem, it's like they're barely putting any money in the company. They keep losing people, hardly signing anybody or doing anything with partnerships. And it's like, Anthem, just kill TNA. Just kill it. Or at least get to somebody with more common sense to put more money into the product instead of just let it fall. for the longest time, TNA was the second biggest and almost the first at one point because it was really hot. Then Hogan came in. If Hogan wasn't in there, I guarantee you Impact would be gunning for the top spot. I believe that. And anybody think otherwise, you either don't watch the past product, or you're just too loyal to the WWE, because TNA was putting on some great matches at some point, and they had great talent exchange and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, they had some of the best talent to work there. They had Naito, Yujiro Takahashi, Hujiro Tamahashi, and Okada there. All four of those guys, look what they had in New Japan. I know Yujiro Takahashi, he's a Tokyo pimp, but he's happy in his role. The other three I named held that title, the IWGP heavyweight title, all three of them. So yeah, TNA might have been bad in the past, but people keep forgetting that they have some of the best talent in the world, which is kind of sad for what happened to it. But at the same time, you can't just say TNA was just terrible, or it had one-offs, or they just hired WWE rejects, which I find that funny you call them WWE rejects, yet when they hit TNA and they're smoking up the place, putting on the best matches, the same WWE fans that was talking about TNA and calling them rejects, they automatically want to go back and say, hey, come back to WWE. WWE do something for you. So those hypocrites and fickle. But yeah, man, that'll be in a different episode, because I can go on there very deeply. But yeah, man, just crazy. At this point, everybody was talking about Anthony's going to save Impact. Impact is on this, for me, it's on his last legs. If you can't book a bigger venue for more space, you can't have more talent on the roster, because I'm pretty sure that roster is very small right now compared to what it used to be. Very small. But I'm going to the next segment because I don't want to dwell on it too long. The next one, it is what it is, man. For real, I'm happy to see the BCOGs taking over, making Bullet Club what it's supposed to be instead of what the elite stuff was about. But Jay White, he doesn't fit the leader mode. I do know Tama Tonga and Fale even said there's no leader. They appoint somebody to be leader, and then if that person's not nowhere, they kick him to the side and somebody else will be the leader. But for me, Jay White, he does not fit the mold to be a leader. I'm sorry for anybody that believes in him or would think I'm wrong, but he does not fit that role. The only person that fit the role of Bullet Club leader, any version of it, is Prince Devitt. Yeah, he was short, but he had a mean streak. He was short, but he looked like he would snap your head off. He was a walking badass compared to Jay White, who's clean face. I can see how that's working out. You have some rough and ready Bullet Club guys, look disheveled, looked like they just got out of a fight not too long ago, and you got a clean face dude. That don't work, man. I'm gonna give Jay White 1 year, no, less than 1 year at next Wrestle Kingdom if he can prove me wrong. But I'm pretty sure he won't prove me wrong, because he has the moves, he has the loyalty to New Japan, but he doesn't have the look. And people can say it's not all about the look. He's not WWE. Yeah, he's not WWE. But when you factor in one of the hottest groups, hottest factions, in the world right now, you need somebody that fits the role as the leader. You can't just throw some pretty boy out there and think that's gonna work. Work for Chaos, because Chaos is just people. To me, just seemed like people just was thrown together. It works for LIJ because they fit the mold around Naito. Suzuki Gun, they fit that role, just brawlers. And you got other ones out there too that I haven't mentioned, and they fit their role perfectly. But Jay White, I don't think he's gonna fit the role as the leader. So in 1 year's time, if he isn't holding that title at the next Wrestle Kingdom, I consider him a flop. But speaking of that, I'm going down to my next one because I'm flying through these really quick because these are some very passionate subjects I could think of. WWE to me, when I was typing up this picture for this, I just got the idea to call WWE like Apple and the indies and everybody else not associated with the WWE like Android, in a way that Apple and WWE, they always act like they revolutionized, created, or popularized certain things in the phone or the wrestling ring that independents or non-WWE companies and Android has been doing for years. I think WWE's heyday, big innovation time was in the 90s because they had competition. Now they're just sitting back and they're trying to tell their fans, hey man, we did all this revolutionizing stuff. We popularized female wrestling. We're giving women the championships. We've done all of this. And if these fans have any common sense, they'll go through the histories and see that WWE have few women tag team championships. But they won't do that because they're too lazy and they're programmed. Whereas in the indies, they have intergender matches all the time. Just recently, I was looking on Instagram. I saw Jessica Havoc. She was facing Jimmy Jacobs in a bull rope or hardcore match. A woman versus a man. Doesn't matter if he's big or small or she's big or small. Two sexes fighting against each other. WWE is acting like that's too taboo. That's too dangerous. It's not. Perfect example right here. Asuka. She fought Kenny Omega before. She fought Suzuki, the leader of Suzuki Gun before. She even tagged with Kenny one time against Suzuki. She fights men all the time when she was in New Japan. Why? Because she was one of the top stars in Japan. She wasn't in New Japan, but she was in Japan. Wave, Stardom, all those companies. Total badass. When she get to WWE, she's a laughingstock until she got the title on her. For Asuka to go on a losing streak and look like a joke, you failed as a company. That woman hardly lost in Japan. Hardly lost. Becky Lynch. She might be cool as the man, but for me, that died like a year or two ago. Like everybody else is getting the title shots. It's like, for me, Becky was just in the shadows. She was just sitting back. Now she's pretty much taking Austin's stick and she's applying to herself, which it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like that they recycle the same gimmicks, the same things over and over. And I can tell you right now, I'm 29. I've been watching wrestling since March 15th, 1998, when The Rock on Monday Night Raw was cutting a promo. That was the first time I watched wrestling. From there, I watched wrestling on TBS, the Free Access channel, any channel ECW was on, and WWE. Then once the internet hit, I watched all these other companies. So hardly any of these gimmicks that they're doing with these characters on the WWE I've seen before. So her character is not going to work for me. I know the biggest moment I knew WWE had no idea what they were doing was when TNA had the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. WWE then did a storyline where Cool broke the titles and it was co-women's champion, trying to make it like a tag team title. Which for me, after doing research and seeing they have women's championships, tag team championships, why didn't you just bring those back when you had all those divas? You could have easily brought those back, but you see how hot female wrestling, how hot non-WWE wrestling is, you decide to be like, oh, now we're gonna jump on this hype train because it's hot and everybody thinks, oh, it's the best thing to do. It's great marketing. You're not fooling nobody, not even me. Whereas in the independents, man, I have to get to this right now. Independents, you see, it's like an open source. You can do anything in independents and get over. Mostly in PWG. I watched several videos in PWG where guys will act like they throw a grenade, people fall over. There's guys legit not seriously. They do slow-mo matches, even commentary doing it. Best thing ever. Jim Cornette might like it, but I do because it's a different take on wrestling. They're not out there just to get their name out there. They're out there to have fun. Once you remove fun out of it and you just throw money at somebody, they lose that passion. Seriously, they lose all that passion. It's just crazy. It wouldn't surprise me in about 5 years' time if they come out with their own 6-man championship, so they can fall behind New Japan. I'm not sure if New Japan. No, it wasn't New Japan that started that. CMLL, AAA, New Japan, Ring of Honor. It wouldn't be surprised if they did that because that's what the WWE do. They bite on things that's trending and they follow it, and people think they created it or something like that, and they didn't. But that's my take on these topics, man. This is episode 1 for my wrestling news. It's just sad, man, for real. It's just really sad how that thing is going on. It's just crazy, man, for real. But you gotta do what you gotta do. If you love women wrestling, follow it. If you love any type of wrestling that you can get your eyes on, follow it. For me, I'm loving Defy Wrestling whenever I can watch it online. I love watching New Japan. I'm not watching that much Impact because it's Ring of Honor, I'm watching when I can. Let's see. New Japan. There's a lot of wrestlers out there. AAA I can get into when I can, which they stream on Twitch. CMLL, I try to watch them. Just can't get into it that much. I used to watch FWE, which a friend of mine used to run the company, but he, I guess, since closed it. There's not that many companies I watch. Oh yeah, Rise I watch on Twitch, but there's not that many wrestling companies I watch. But I'm doing better this year to watch them. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. But I will be getting out my shout outs. Most of these ladies, some of you already heard of, some of them you don't. But for me, I watch these ladies. Sometimes I watch more women's wrestling more than the men's. But these women you should be watching. If you're not, I don't know what's wrong with you. The first one is the Wounded Out Lufisto. She made an audition video to get into WWE a few years ago, many years ago. I heard of her, never seen her wrestle, but as soon as I saw her wrestling, I became an instant fan. So follow her on Twitter. I'm gonna have their links in the description or the comment section so you can follow them. The next one for me, if you follow AAA or you know AAA and you heard of the wrestler Sexy Lady or Lady Shanti, her cousin is Dark. She's pretty much a hardcore luchadoress, but she's one of my favorites. I interact with her a lot on Instagram and Twitter. You should follow her as well because she come up with some good mask designs and she's highly underrated. Hardly anybody sees of her because she's not with any big promotions. She's everywhere in between. Speaking of that, one of my favorite other wrestlers that I've been following, She was with Cedar Mel. She was with the Mae Young Classic. I call her, she's the queen of lucha, Xerxes. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you're a WWE fan, you've seen her with the mask. She's Puerto Rican. She's, I think she's highly underrated. She was on WWE's radar for the longest time. And I guess she turned down the WWE. I would be very heartbroken if she went there because her talent, she deserved to work everywhere, not just one company, which I hate. Speaking from one Puerto Rican to another, the Puerto Rican sniper, I like to call her, Evilise. If you know Evilise from Lucha, from TNA, from WWE, you know this woman. She talks, she means what she says. She go around, she kick your ass, she'll beat you up, and she'll look good doing it. She, like so many other female wrestlers, I haven't seen many men do this, but she auctioned off her warm ring attire, which for me, I've been telling people this for years. If I was a millionaire, I will buy the outfits and I just tell them, hey, keep your outfits. Here's the money, because they highly underpaid and highly underrated. Because most people won't watch the guys, whereas I'm watching women for their talent. And if you like a luchadores, I'm looking at the mask because I like the mask on luchadors and luchadoras. I'm not one of those guys that be looking at the women like eye candy. That's the big turn off for me. I don't know why people do that and they're creepy. But from her, I'll go to one of my favorites. She goes by many names. Courtney Rush, which I followed her the same day she debuted for Impact. You know her as Rosemary. One of my favorites. She keeps changing her looks, keep coming back, keep going, but she's loyal to Impact. She's happy with Impact, which I love, and she has no intention to go to WWE because she knows what will happen there. So I love her talent, and I love how she interacts with her fans and community. Go from her to one of my favorites that hardly anybody knows about. I mean, hardly anybody knows about. Savannah Summers. She's from Australia. She works in the United States. She works for. She did some stuff in China, South Africa, New Zealand, the UK, and a few other places. Highly underrated. She's been in this business for a long time, just like LaFisto. And she needs to praise just like everybody else. She's been holding it down herself, doing anything like that. You should follow her. One of my favorites, well, the only favorite from Ring of Honor, Kelly Klein. I call her the beautiful badass and the badass gatekeeper because that is her nickname, the gatekeeper for Women of Honor. And for me, she should have been the first Ring of Honor women's champion. It wasn't up to me, but I'm happy she got the title now, and I'm happy she's getting more time in Ring of Honor because the only thing they was putting her as the next Goldberg. She was just in there winning matches, and that's it. I'm happy to give her more time and stuff like that. These last two, I'm flipping around, but oh well. She went by the Bullet Babe, the Bullet Club Babe. I think she was the first lady of Bullet Club. I'm not sure. She goes by on Glow. She goes by not Glow. Women of Wrestling. She goes by as the Hollywood Babe. Ember O'Neill, one of my favorites wrestlers. Very interactive for her fans. Very engaging. Just fun to talk to. Her and I do believe Savannah Summers. Sorry. Those two are the first two to follow me on Twitter, which I didn't realize they follow me until like a day or two afterwards. But yeah, Amber, she has, I guess, 2 other Twitter accounts, 2 other like Instagram things where she's do lifestyle stuff, and she has a channel for her Women of Wrestling character, the Hollywood Babe. I suggest you guys watch from the Women of Wrestling because that's highly underrated, and those women put on some great matches. And I put this lady last, even though she's supposed to be after Samantha Summers, she's the queen of the UK. She is the mother of Paige. She's the wife of Ricky Knight. She has two sons, the Hooligans. She has some grandkids that are pretty much trying to get into wrestling too. No more about many names, but for me, her name is Soraya Knight. They call her Sweet Soraya. One of my favorite wrestlers. She doesn't get hardly any credit. For real. She doesn't get hardly any credit in the States. She gets some matches in the States, but not enough. I pretty much call her she's the queen of the Knight family. So all her kids are wrestling. I think except one. Husband, I think at one point was the owner and booker of a promotion. And she's the owner and booker of Bellatrix female wrestling. Check that out too. She's highly underrated. She talks on Instagram, Twitter a lot, but she doesn't get highly the respect that you see all these other women get. Her style is a lot slower, but she put more emphasis on hard kicks, sometimes hardcore matches, and she helps create Su Young. I really suggest you follow her and all these other women I mentioned and shout out. And I like to say, guys, next episode, be ready because I'm gonna have some more topics. I do cover other stuff on my channel. I do cover reviews. Do some live plays on my other channel, BlastBoxx TV. No, BlastBoxx, yeah. Blac Play Imprint. Sorry about that. Got so many channels. Do reviews, news, gaming, stuff like that. But this is the first wrestling. But yeah, I'm gonna have all these ladies' links, Twitter in the comment section or description. But just remember, guys, have a safe weekend. Have fun. This is episode number 1 for wrestling news. And remember, and always stay out of the blast radius because you might get burned.